Hello, all sentient beings, and welcome to the Transmissions Podcast, where we talk all Hasbro, Takara, and third party
Transformers!
On this episode of Transmissions, we take a look at some items that have been a long time in coming from Hasbro and X-Transbots. We've also got more rumors of what's coming up from Hasbro, and we've got a ton of feedback from recent trips to the store. Today is Wednesday, August 25th, 2021, and this is episode 448 of Transmissions.
Welcome to Transmissions, the podcast that's double booked for virtual and physical conventions this October. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hello, how's it going?
Fantastic fan artist, Apollo, aka Robo Apollo.
Hi, everyone.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Give me all the conventions. Let's talk Transformers.
All right, as always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal to help keep the show going. It's because of you that we can do this every week and, pay the hosting fees, have the shows stay up, and you can still download them for free and all that good stuff. So thank you to everyone for continuing to support us. We really appreciate it. If you are not yet a Donatron and would like to become one, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support. That's where you can sign up. And one of the perks of being a Donatron is that you get access to the early uncut versions of the Empire of Rust Transformers RPG podcast that is part of the Transmissions Network. And this week we have episode 57, Encyclopedia Cybertronica. And this is exclusive to Donatrons. It's up on the Patreon page. It's already available. It came out Monday, August 23rd. So you should have access to it already if you are a Donatron. This is a longer version of the episode with lots of stuff left in, nothing cut out. And this is our gift to you for being a Donatron. So thank you, everyone, for supporting us and enjoy these extra long episodes of Empire of Rust. The regular episode... go ahead.
I was going to say that's an amazing name. I don't see why we have never had that before in like a who's who type book with like all the different characters.
Yeah, that's
a perfect name.
We should trademark it so Hasbro has to pay us to use it. But so the regular the regular episode will be up on the free feed next week, August 30th. So if you're not a Donatron, you'll have access to it then, and everyone will get to listen to it. So stay tuned. Another perk of being a Donatron is that you are automatically entered into our monthly Toy Hacks Get $10 gift code drawing. And we do this at the end of every month. So we pick a name out of a hat, and that lucky winner will get a $10 gift code. So you can buy lots of labels and stickers from toyhacks.com. If you want to spruce up some of your action figures, some of your Transformers, you can get some new stickers. As I said, if you're a Donatron, you're already entered, so nothing else to do. Just wait for us to announce the winner. But if you want to enter the contest and you're not a Donatron, you can do that. Just send an email to contest@transmissionspodcast.com. And you need to send it in by Sunday, August 29th, because we're going to do the drawing next week. So we need to have your entry before we do the drawing. So if you are sending an email, please send us a picture of a Transformers figure that you'd like to get stickers for. We're curious. We like to see what you want to get stickers for. So take care of that. Or you could just sign up and be a Donatron. That's the easy way to do it. So, enjoy. All right, let's jump right in and talk about some toys.
All right, and this week, I've been waiting for this picture to show up for seemingly years, and finally we got a leaked picture, and it appears to be one of the train bots for the Masterpiece Raiden, and this is I'm going to say the name wrong, but whatever. It's Shukai, and it is the I'm thinking it's one of the leg bots for Raiden, and it's a prototype. It's uncolored. It's unfinished. It's likely mistransformed, but it's the first look at something that we heard about back in 2019. And like I said, I've been waiting forever to see pictures of something like this, just as confirmation that it exists, that they weren't just kind of giving up on the project because of COVID, that they've gone ahead with it, and here it is. And I'm so happy to see it. We have not a lot of information. We have no pricing. We have no date. We have no pictures of anything else. We just have a picture of the thing in robot mode, like I said, likely mistransformed, and a picture of it in alt mode, which it just looks fantastic. So I'm just going to open it up to the floor so we can have a quick discussion on it. Everybody, we've got what looks like a part of Masterpiece Raiden here. Charles, does this light a fire in you? Do you want some trains in your life? What do you see when you look at this?
Well, first of all, it's huge. I mean, it looks like, I know Masterpiece figures are generally on the larger size, but this guy looks very big, and the fact that it is a combiner, so he's a limb for the combiner. I'm curious to see how big this full size combiner is going to be. I mean, this is going to be basically the equivalent of another Titan class figure, when it's all done. And this does look
bigger.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And this robot mode looks really good. Like I am, excited to see how they compact this robot mode into that long, thin bullet train figure, alt mode. It looks really well done. It looks nicely engineered. I do notice a lot of clear plastic on the arms and legs. So I'm wondering, if that's going to be painted or replaced or something. But this prototype has me excited. I don't know if I don't think I can say I'm in for these figures. I think I'm generally not collecting the huge Masterpiece figures anymore. But this looks really good. So all the Raiden fans who are already getting the third party figure, I don't know if this will make them change their mind or make them want to get both. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy, Charles touched on a really interesting question there, and that is that there is that third party Raiden coming out from Moon Studio, I believe it is, and they are already taking pre-orders. Do you think something like this would sway you, seeing that they are actually underway with a production of it? They've got prototypes going, whereas we still have really yet to see a physical prototype from Moon Studios. It's all been just CAD imagery. So what do you see when you look at this, and where do you stand on the third party versus Takara chat?
I think the third party is going to give people a lot more than what Takara will give you in terms of not having the same safety standards, and they can do a lot more because they are targeting collectors. Mm-hmm. Takara does have to be more of a mass market, so I think it's not going to sway many people. They've probably already made up their mind they're going to do the third party because they'll get it quicker, and they'll probably be a little bit more detailed. But I don't think Takara's going to have any problem selling this. This looks really cool. I love the G1 blockiness of this, particularly you can see the shoulders, and I think it's going to look really good. I would bet that the clear panels would be painted if that is the plastic that's going to be used in those sections. But I have always enjoyed seeing the various train bots over the years, and I think this is looking really cool. Right
on. And Apollo, I don't know if you and I have really chatted about the Masterpiece Raiden. It's, like we said, it was introduced back in 2019, and they basically went dark on it. COVID happened and no news from Takara on it. When you see this, is Raiden something that interests you? This thing, this combiner, when completed, looks to be something, like Charles said, is going to be huge. Do you have a spot in your house for this? It's not Starscream, so is that, does it make its way into a collection of yours? What do you see when you look at this?
I see bags of money when I look at this. No, just kidding. No, I think this is really cool. Later on, everyone will get to see my trip to the store thing, but the newer Masterpiece figures are actually really spectacular, like in regards to the engineering and everything. So I'm really excited to see more pictures of Shoki once he's finished, because this is a prototype, obviously, and then see Raiden once he's done, because seems like a really cool combiner character, and especially at Masterpiece scale, this thing's going to be massive. We'll have to see if there's a spot in my collection for this, but I'll be keeping an eye on it. Let's just say that.
Right on. And if it wasn't evident from my excitement, I'm also really into this as well. The Moon Studios ones, they look fantastic as well. It's interesting to have these guys kind of going head to head at the same time, and history would say that anytime a third party company goes head to head with Hasbro or Takara, they lose. But this is a little different. I mean, this is a Masterpiece combiner. It's never happened before. It's a figure that was not in the North American mindset. We didn't get it over here. It's not a lot of people are really familiar with Raiden. So if you're going to want a Raiden, then especially a Masterpiece Raiden, you've got to first of all know who it is, and then be after it. So it's to chase one of these figures is to really, really want to know your stuff. You gotta know what you're looking for. And I think that there's probably a spot on the market for both of these figures, one from Moon Studios and one from Takara. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of happen.
One thing I would worry about is not being able to complete the set. Mm-hmm. Because like you mentioned, you have to know who Raiden is. So they're both targeting a small subset of the overall fandom. Mm-hmm. So is the run going to be smaller than a normal Masterpiece figure would get?
Yeah, no, it's a good point.
What is the normal run for Masterpiece figures? How many do they make normally?
That's the $1 million question.
Yeah, we need the
nobody
data.
will tell us that.
Does anyone in the audience know?
Yeah, they'll never release that. Hasbro Takara will never let us know that information. Some of the third party companies will let you know. It's usually much smaller than a mainline run. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that if you were to go after the Masterpiece, the Takara one here, and you were lacking one or two of the figures, it would likely be much easier to find those figures in the future than it would be one of the Moon Studio ones. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's the topic I had for this week. Let's see what Jeremy's got for us.
All right. Well, I'm also going to be talking about something that was announced years ago. This is X-Transbots Abaddon, which is their G1 Masterpiece scaled Galvatron. And this was announced originally in 2015. We saw renders of it back in March of this year. And now we have the gray prototype version in the robot mode of it. And I think this thing looks really good. He's got a scowling face. I would imagine, as with many of these, we probably are going to get multiple faces. But I think this face is really good. He looks very poseable. These are just dark gray, but I mean, the renders we saw back in March show the colors. I think it's going to look fantastic. I would really like to see the alt mode of this, but I think it's going to look really good. Daryl, you're more familiar with X-Transbots than me, but what do you think of this? And do you think they will make a quality Galvatron?
Well, X-Transbots, I mean, we've been talking about them quite a lot for the last couple weeks, to the point where we even seemingly have skipped some topics of theirs this week. They seem to have been making a bit of a run at producing a lot of stuff. And I remember talking about this figure back in 2015, and that I think that at the time there was another couple of Galvatrons coming out on the market. X-Transbots has a history, and anybody who is, a little older, in the fandom anyway, will know, because they were one of the first to come out with a Masterpiece scaled Megatron that wasn't the first Masterpiece Megatron, right? So they came out with Apollyon. It was a bit shitty, but it did the trick until, everyone said, hey, this is not good, we can do much better, and they did. So I think X-Transbots is doing a lot of work to kind of shed that image of Apollyon, and by putting out all the Carbots that we talked about last week, they announced additional Carbots this week. I think they talked about a Perceptor. There was a Perceptor this week, maybe last week as well. There's a lot of stuff that they're kind of throwing out there now that they're really trying hard to get back into the market as a one of the top premier third-party brands. And this Abaddon figure, it looks phenomenal. I bought Apollyon, and I still have it. It's beside me right now, actually, and it still feels solid. It's just one of those things that, it's just really finicky, and in the robot mode, there was some problems. It just didn't want to stay, standing. But this Galvatron figure just looks great. They seem to have gotten a different designer, because this isn't designed the same way as Apollyon was. So I'm really impressed with what they seem to have done here. And I really do personally, I want to see it in hand first before I kind of, laid down the $100 and so odd to get another X-Transbots figure. But I like it. I like the hustle they're putting out there. X-Transbots is not going out without a fight.
Yeah, definitely. Apollo, what do you think of this? I'm not sure what, other third-party figures you've gotten, but are you a Galvatron fan, even though he destroyed Starscream?
I think he's a cool character. I don't know if I'd say I'm a fan, but I saw pictures of this. I don't have anything by X-Transbots. The stuff I've bought has been mostly from Make Toys and then Mastermind Creations, and then a few other third-party stuff here and there, but not X-Transbots yet. But I think this looks really nice. I love his scowling face. He does look really posable. It looks like you can do a lot of different posing with him. He just is standing there relaxed in one of these pictures, and I just think that's really cool when you can pose things like that. And it looks like he scales very well with the Masterpiece figures. I'm staring at one here, and it's just oh yeah, he's huge, but he's gonna scale really nicely in someone's Masterpiece collection. I don't know if I'm gonna buy one, but it would be cool to check it out.
Yeah. It'll definitely be something to see at conventions.
Mm-hmm.
Charles, what are your thoughts on this?
This is a really well done Galvatron. It looks very, it's super posable. I am also curious to see the alt mode, but it does look like it. It looks like it's pretty well designed and fully transformable. It really closely seems to match the animation model. I think it really does a good job representing the G1 animation model for Galvatron, and the fact that it's fully posable and articulated and transforms as well it's great. It looks really nice. It's still I think it's probably out of my collector range, just because, as I mentioned, I'm not really collecting the masterpieces anymore, and this is probably a pretty big figure, pretty expensive figure, but if you are looking for a Masterpiece Galvatron, I don't know when Takara is going to put out a Masterpiece Galvatron, if that's even on their radar yet. But maybe for the 50th anniversary of Transformers the movie in 15 years. But yeah, this is it looks really nice for a Masterpiece Galvatron. Yeah, I mean, as Daryl said, the X-Transbots quality control, stink has got it's still on there, I think, a little bit. I mean, I don't have an opinion either way, but I mean, I remember the Apollyon controversy because the Transmissions is old enough that we covered that in real time. So, yeah. I guess if it's, as always, it's going to be buyer beware. But yeah, I would probably wait to see what if when this people get this in hand, or if it's shown at a convention, to make sure that the quality is up to snuff.
Yep, definitely. All right, Apollo, what do you have this week?
Well, I've got the some images of the Generations Shattered Glass Collection Goldbug. This is via Kevin Liu YouTube channel. So once again, this is another leak, it looks like, unless if this person is a legit YouTuber. I don't know much about them, but I love the packaging for the Shattered Glass. That's the first thing I'm going to say. I think it's really beautiful and striking. It's very different than what Transformers usually does color scheme wise. So it's really cool. The more I see this figure, the more I'm getting convinced to buy him. I wasn't going to buy him originally, but I really love his color scheme and his little face mask and visor, and it's just a really nice combination. And I know there was some talk a few months ago about the Autobot logo on him and the shade of purple being off, but you can see there that the shade of purple is darker than what people thought before. Like, I think the thing was that people thought it was too light, but even though some of these images are blurry, we can get a good look at what this figure is going to look like. So I'm probably going to be buying this at this point. So yeah, Charles, what do you think of this figure?
I like it. I do like this. This definitely is I mean, I like the color scheme, the evil Goldbug color scheme. It's a really nice redeco of that Cliff Jumper, the Earthrise War for Cybertron Earthrise Cliff Jumper mold. And yeah, I mean, it's cool. The packaging is also great. I agree with you about how the packaging looks really nice, and they have a profile on the back. So I guess it's translated into 4 other languages in addition to English. But they did make space for a little profile, which it seems like that's that's been missing on some of the more recent packaging, for the mainline Transformers. So yeah, it's nice to see have a little bit of a backstory of Goldbug, the evil Goldbug, and he did used to be Bumblebee, but I guess he rose through the ranks. He caused enough destruction and death to be upgraded to Goldbug. So I always like the little tidbits of lore. But yeah, this is a neat figure. I'm still not the biggest fan of Shattered Glass in general, the concept, but these figures do look fun.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing your thoughts on it. Daryl, what do you think about this figure?
This one, I believe, out of all of the Goldbug ones, and unfortunately this is contrary to your opinion of it, I find the Goldbug one to be most boring out of all 5 of the figures they've released. There seems nothing to it. It's a black and yellow car. Maybe I'm just bored of Bumblebee. That might be it. And, to make one of these 5 figures a Bumblebee is just kind of slap me aside the head again, kind of a deal. It's just, I've had enough of Bumblebee at this point. I'm just, give me something else.
You don't like the buzzworthy Bumblebee line?
Nope, I don't. But I'm in the same boat as you, Charles, with where I'm not a fan of the Shattered Glass universe either. So maybe that has something to do with it. I've admitted that I will be buying these comics because, you know, I'm a huge fan of Alex's art, and with him doing the A covers, then it'll make it much easier for me to get them. And so I'll be getting the comics, but the toys, all 5 of them will be pretty easy passes for me. I'm glad that people out there that are fans of Shattered Glass get the opportunity to buy these things, because, you know, it's been something that has existed, and it's being offered in a place where is kind of made exactly for this kind of thing. Hasbro Pulse is exactly where you'd expect to find this kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely like an exclusive type figure. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. Jeremy, what do you think of this figure?
I think it looks really good. I haven't gotten the Cliff Jumper mold yet, so I might jump on this just to get that, and also a Shattered Glass figure. I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about the mold itself. Just the colors on this, I think, look really good. So yeah, I've never been the biggest fan of Shattered Glass itself, but I mean, I do have some of the figures from the conventions back in the day, and it'll be neat to have, you know, modern versions as well. So yeah, this looks really fun. And like Daryl said, you know, just glad that people that are big fans of the concept do get some mainline figures.
Yeah, no, it's great that we're getting more Shattered Glass figures. And I have the Cliff Jumper from Earthrise, and it's a really good toy, so at least in my opinion. So yeah, if you can get one of these, go for it. Well, that's all I have for toys this week. Charles, what do you have to share with us?
All right. Well, I am continuing the Leakapalooza, Leak Bonanza, Toy Leak. We had a bunch of Target listings last week, and they're still coming. So this week we've got more leaks. One for Transformers Prime, and then the rest are all for Transformers, this new Legacy, which is apparently the successor to the War for Cybertron Generations line, and then Studio Series for, you know, it looks like a lot of the Studio Series for the Rise of the Beast, for the new, or maybe just the figures for the Rise of the Beasts live action movie. So all the figures in that toy line. So lots of things coming up there. Just quickly for Transformers Prime, Knockout, it looks to be a figure coming to Target, and I mean we haven't really talked about it a lot, but this year is also, in addition to being the 25th anniversary of Beast Wars and the 35th anniversary of Transformers the movie, this is also the 10th anniversary of Transformers Prime. And earlier in the year, we did get that Hasbro Pulse breakdown figure that came out. So I guess having a Target exclusive Knockout for to pair that with the breakdown that already came out, it's probably a good pairing for people who were fans of Transformers Prime and also fans of the Till All Are One comic that did feature Knockout and breakdown a little bit. They were bit players, but the fact that they were reintroduced as a couple from Velocitron was an interesting evolution of their characters. So yeah, fans of Knockout and Breakdown might be interested in this figure coming to Target. So this is a leak, so nothing has been officially announced or acknowledged yet. But maybe as we get later in the year, we might get some announcements that are going to mention this. To the larger set of leaks that came from Target as well, we have a bunch of Rise of the Beast figures, and these are all names. So I'm shrugging my shoulders because I have no idea who these characters represent because we haven't seen the movie yet. But there's a lot of different characters from Rise of the Beasts that look interesting. I see, names like Alpha, Orion, Journey, Pluto, Cyclops. I mean, these are all, I don't know. But one interesting figure I saw, the name I saw is George. So I don't know if that's a human, a little human action figure, or
they're all just fake names.
Yeah.
That's what they're.
So yeah, I mean, so lots of different characters there. What's interesting also in the Legacy line, or actually I should say Studio Series, I did notice in Studio Series there's a Spike in Studio Series that it looks to be a core class figure. I wonder if this is an exosuit Spike. I mean, I guess it doesn't say Studio Series 86, so maybe it's just a look. But live action, he was Sam, so I guess it could be Studio Series 86. But I mean, we've gotten a couple of exosuit, like Daniel and Spike in their exosuits as pack-ins with other characters, but they've all been terrible figures.
They've progressively gotten worse.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fact that this is a core class sized figure, maybe this will actually have some articulation and you can actually see a human face inside the exoskeleton of this figure. So that might be interesting. Other characters that look interesting in the Legacy line, I see a Blitzwing, so another, a return of a triple changer. Of course, a Megatron, a Hot Rod in Legacy, a Dead End. So I think we mentioned we already saw that the Stunticons were listed earlier. So Dead End is another Stunticon. So yeah, it looks interesting. Lots of interesting names in these leaks, and I'm curious what this means for Rise of the Beast. There's a lot of Rise of the Beast figures, so it looks like there's going to be a lot of characters in that line. Daryl, what's your overall thoughts on this massive set of leaks here?
The one thing that I after kind of re-listening to last week's show when we were talking about the leaks and stuff, Studio Series has never done a figure below Deluxe. So these Studio Series figures that are mentioned at $849, either the pricing is wrong or there's something different. I mean, it could be Studio Series, but it doesn't fit with the current Studio Series pattern, right? There's never ever been anything in Studio Series below Deluxe. So
all the other Studio Series from the other leaks were also $849.
Yes. Yeah. So it's likely that the $849 price point is wrong. So, I mean, it looks really good. I'm excited for the Prime Knockout. If it is just a reissue of what we've gotten before, I mean, I'm fine with that too. It's good. I would love for them to have been able to like re-engineer the figure, because that was a fantastic looking character mold in the show, and the toy just didn't quite get it right. If they are able to do that, then that's fantastic. Looking through this ginormous list of things that are coming out, the only thing that stands out to me is George. I want to know what George is, and the only thing I can think of is the Looney Tunes thing with the abominable snowman, where I want to love him and squeeze him and call him George. I see this, and it's just there's a lot here, and honestly, I at this point, the only things that look like they're confirmed or there's any real legitimacy to it are the stuff that's got a real name to it right now. So yeah, it's there's a lot here though.
Apollo, were you a fan of Transformers Prime?
Yeah, no, I was a big fan of it. That show and then More Than Meets the Eye got me into Transformers again back in 2017, after seeing The Last Night in movie theaters. Yeah, my thoughts are similar to Daryl's on it. I've seen pictures of the old toy, and I don't like how that toy looks, but if they come out with a new version of him with a completely different toy mold, I will buy it in a heartbeat. But if it's the same mold that's come out and it's a reissue, I'm going to pass. So, yeah, that's my honest thoughts on it. I like Knockout as a character, though, but I don't like the older toy at all, just how it looks. Yeah, these listings, it's hard to really know what's real and what's not, like to me, when I see Orion, I think of Orion Pax, so that could be like, a pre-Optimus Prime, but I don't know where this movie takes place in the timeline, so I could be completely wrong about that. But yeah, that's interesting that there's one named George. Like, that stood out to me too. When I saw this list, I'm like, what is going on? It's almost too, it's hard to believe these are actually real character names. I think they're code names. I don't think these are the real listings, except for like Spike, like, and Megatron, and then maybe Orion, but and then Blitzwing. But I'll be curious to see what actually comes out of this, if it's even legit. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's also interesting. It looks like they've got the same character in basically every size class too, because I see, a $9.99 George, a $21.99 George, a $31.49 George. So, I mean, it's interesting that I think they've done this with the movie figures before, where they release several the same character in several price points. So, but it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. We've still got a little bit of time before the movie comes out, so yeah, we'll have to check back next year when we've actually seen the movie to see what these are. And maybe these names are all placeholders, and we'll get the real names next year. All right, Jeremy, what do you think of all these leaks? Is there anything that stood out to you that you would like to pick up?
I'm definitely picking up the 3149 George. I mean, I haven't been big on any of the movie lines to date, so we'll see what these look like when they come out and when they get their real names. I am interested in that the Transformers Prime. I'm not sure if it's going to be a re-release or not, but they did do a couple of years ago. I got it behind me. The Generation Selects. They released I think it was the Air Viacon and Breakdown that never got a US release. Mm-hmm. Kind of interesting now that, we're getting the other half with Knockout, you're getting the other half of that pair. So it makes me wonder, is this going to be a re-release of, one of the Prime figures, or if it's going to be a new figure? Mm-hmm.
I did mention that at the beginning, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, sorry, it's been a while. You come to me last. I forget about the things you talk about at the beginning. But I'm not sure if Target's ever gotten any of the Generation Selects like that. But
I think they got Red Wing at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kind of fit their MO, though.
Yeah. I'm interested in that, and I'm interested in seeing what the Legacy line turns out to be. I'll probably stick with that line. I haven't been into any of the movie stuff, so, just beyond looking at them, and hopefully they have a more pleasing design to me than the Bay versions had. If they look more like traditional Transformers and not, have like just that look that the Bayformers had, I'd be more apt to go for the movie lines.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. So we don't really know anything about this new movie, what the aesthetic is going to be, what the art style is going to be.
Yeah, it is interesting. There's a role play blaster in there. I think the other movies did stuff like that too. But I could see myself picking that up for my kid, giving him an opportunity to shoot me. Hasbro has Nerf, so maybe it's going to be a Nerf crossover thing.
All right. Well, that's all our toy topics. So we will move on to trips to the store. This is where we show off all the awesome Transformer stuff we got this week. We do this as a video so you can see everything we got in beautiful high definition on our YouTube channel. But we'll put the audio right here in the show so you can keep listening as we describe everything we got in loving detail. So without further ado, trips to the store.
The Transmissions Podcast will return after these messages.
All right, let's show off the stuff we got. And this week I'm going to go first. I don't have something new, but this was a topic of discussion during the week. Apollo was searching for something, and Daryl mentioned that I already had it, so I thought I'd show it off. Yeah, this is my Transformers Legends paperback. Picked this up, I guess it was like 15 years ago now. So this is, apparently this is a very rare Transformers book now. It's out of print. There's no digital version. And if you want this, apparently you pay a hefty price on eBay for these guys. But yeah, so this is a book that I've always been into Transformers lore. So, collecting the books when they were branching out into paperbacks. There were some other terrible Transformers paperbacks that I also picked up. This one was pretty good. This was an anthology of short stories. So you got a lot of different authors doing different stories. They were all, very interesting. Of course, Simon Furman, legendary Simon, Transformers writer, had one of the stories in here, which is always nice. So that was what pulled me in. So yeah, it's a nice little anthology. So yeah, and Apollo, I heard you did get a line on one. So congratulations. I hope you get yours soon. And you didn't pay an arm and a leg for it, so that's also good.
No, and the person I bought it from is throwing in a bunch of more of those paperback Transformers books, so I actually got a really good deal on it. So,
let's see how good of a deal you think it is after you read those other books.
Yeah.
Hey, some of them actually were decent. I mean, parts. I mean, there were some cool ideas introduced in some of them. But on the whole, yeah.
The interesting thing for those novels was that they were apparently set in the Dreamwave Comics continuity
you're
universe.
talking about those novels.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of the ones that were in the aligned continuity.
Oh, that's actually much later. That's like 5 or 6 years later after these ones came out. But yeah, Apollo, when you get yours, you'll have to show them off on an upcoming episode.
I will.
So.
I think I'm getting also the Dreamwave ones. Like I think there's 3, and then also Transformers Exiles, which I think is from the aligned continue.
Right.
So I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess Jeremy's about to show off his aligned novels there.
Yep.
So I'll oh my,
all the books.
I'll switch. We'll switch over to Jeremy.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't planning on showing off those, but
those are terrible.
And then I have Ghosts of Yesterday, which ties in with, it's like a prequel for the 2007 movie, written by Alan Dean Foster, who didn't he do the original Star Wars novel or novels?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
And then novelization of that movie, also by Alan Dean Foster. I need to reread those, I think. And then this is the most recent trilogy that was, I mean, on the whole, I think it was okay. Definitely better than the Dreamwave ones. But what I wanted to show today was something that, as we were unpacking stuff, I found this, which I've shown off before. It had been kind of in the background for years, but I'd forgotten where I packed it. So I found it in a box. This is a TV tray from the 80s that maybe like 2006, 2007, a coworker just kind of showed up one day with this, and she had gotten it for 99 cents at like a yard sale or something. She knew I like Transformers, and she got this, and I'm like, it's bent up to hell and it's rusted in spots, but I love it. It's got the classic artwork. So yeah, I need to find a place for it. I was going to put it right behind me, but I think it'll fall over. So I'm going to find a better place for it. But I love getting these like this, and I have the, behind me, I have like that old action figure carrying case with it. It's just, that's a part of my collection that I like. I need to get like lunchboxes and stuff too. So
you got to use it for your TV dinners.
Well, it's too, I mean, you can't really see on here, but maybe you can see like this corner. It's too, even if I wanted to, I couldn't. Mm-hmm. It's all bent out of shape.
You'd get metal poisoning if you ate anything off of that.
Probably, yeah, that too. Yeah. That's what I got this week.
Cool. All right, Daryl, you're up.
Okay. Well, I'm going to continue the trend of showing off stuff we've shown off before. Mine, though, is a toy. I'm going to do a toy. our toy show here that we're doing.
It's toys and merchandise.
Right.
And merchandise.
This is a figure that after G1, I had a hard time finding figures that I really enjoyed. You know, Beast Wars had some good stuff in it, but it was Beast Wars. But Robots in Disguise came out, and I was like, okay, I'm home again. So I have in my collection this boxed Megatron.
Oh, nice.
He's I think he's been opened before, but I'm okay with that. The sides open on him, but and I can kind of tell by looking at some of the twist ties in there that they've been tampered with. But he's complete, like everything's in there. And this Megatron figure from Robots in Disguise is it's a really wicked figure. I really like it. It looks amazing. It transforms into 6 modes, and it's just a really cool figure.
Secretly 10 modes.
10? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's just a really cool figure. The giant hand was always one that I was like, what the hell is why?
And they actually used those in the show.
I know. Then there's the other ones. I just really liked this figure because of the he could stand there and look menacing with the wings out in the back and everything. I really liked that. So he was just a figure that I just liked having in my collection. And I came across one that I could get in a box, and I thought, you know what, this is cool, I'm going to get it. So I did. And he's been sitting on a shelf for years, and that's it.
Yeah, I never had that one. It's a great looking figure though.
Mm-hmm. There's a Galvatron version, obviously, and he's in white, and he looks good, but I still like the Megatron one better. The colors are really pop.
All right. Well, we're going to finish up with Apollo, who I think actually has something new.
Yes.
We don't.
Yes, new. So I waited 2 years to buy this figure, and then I also scored a deal on him. I got Masterpiece 3.0 Optimus Prime.
Wow.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So there he is. I haven't done much with him other than convert him from his convoy mode. I caught myself when I say that, but oh my god, that was like a rite of passage. I feel like doing this conversion from his vehicle mode to his robot mode. It's a lot of folding. So if you're into origami, it reminded me a lot of that. Like, it is really amazing to see, like, his tiny little cab turn into this big honking robot. So I haven't put batteries in him yet. I guess I'll turn him around too. But I got a really good deal on him because the box was dented, and it wasn't even dented bad. The site I bought him from, it's that one Mandarake. It's from Japan. They sell used merchandise there, not just figures, but other stuff. And like, I paid way less for him there than he was selling here. So I'm very happy I was able to score this guy, because I think he's out of stock everywhere else. So, and just to compare, because for now I have MP10. Let's see if I can do this. So there they are side by side. Let me hold them better. So you can clearly see the difference between these two figures. So he's definitely tune accurate. And I mean, there's all sorts of drama between these two figures, but I'm on the MP44 Optimus 3.0 side now. So he's really cool. I'm really glad I got him.
Nice.
Do you have an MP01?
No, I do not.
You got to get one of those now, and you have the trifecta.
Oh no, I'm thinking about rehoming this one anyway. It's like I have them for sale right now on eBay. So yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, someone else. The only version of MP10 I want is the Evangelion Optimus Prime, but that's very expensive. So.
All right. Well, I think that does it for this week's Trips to the Store.
We now return to the Transmissions Podcast.
All right, we're back from our trips to the store, and we will move on to convention news.
All right. We have some news this week. Hasbro has announced the dates for Pulsecon, and I think we are all looking forward to that. You can go to HasbroPulsecon.com for information, but it will be October 22nd and 23rd. And I'm predicting that's probably where we're going to hear about the Legends, like whatever's coming after War for Cybertron. But who knows? We'll see. But if those dates sound familiar, that is because that is also the weekend of TFCon. We know that TFCon Baltimore has nothing to do with Hasbro because third-party stuff, but kind of interesting that it's the same weekend. So while Charles and Daryl are gallivanting out in Baltimore, having fun, I will be monitoring Pulsecon, gathering all the news. So, I will probably have all of that for you that Sunday.
You don't think that Pulsecon is going to be a topic of conversation at TFCon?
Well, it will be, but y'all will be there, and you want to be there taking notes for Pulsecon?
It will be discussed. We will all be talking about it. Yeah. And we may in fact be capable of doing some kind of a show there at that point as well.
Really? I'm not going to be there to do all the technical stuff.
You're not here to do technical stuff right now. I mean, you're here, but there's no technical stuff being done.
Oh, wow.
Ouch.
This podcast just got vicious.
You're going to make me come out to Baltimore just to beat you up.
Yeah. It'll be a definite topic of conversation, and I can't wait to see the two Transformers conventions going head to head on the same weekend.
Well, one thing, I think this PulseCon is not even the focus of this is not even going to be Transformers. Like I remember the last PulseCon, the icon was Optimus Prime. This one, it looks like the Baroness. So I think the other toy lines are getting the shine, and Transformers might be a much smaller part for this one.
I have a feeling they're going to announce the HasLab project.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Because they're working on the Marvel one now, so that's, it's time to announce another one. That's
true, yeah.
I don't know. I think they're also going to announce what's coming next after War for Cybertron.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that could happen during this PulseCon. And it's all virtual, right? So
yeah.
Yeah. You can while we're driving down to Baltimore, you can watch it on your phone.
Yeah. Exactly.
And just listen to it while you're driving. It'll be fun. Also, at TFCon that weekend, we have gotten word that TFCon Baltimore is announcing that Casey Collar will be attending, and that's awesome. Casey's a friend of the show. We really like hanging out with him. So, hope you guys will have fun and try not to kill him if you drive him anywhere.
We didn't last time.
We didn't.
No.
Tried.
Oh no.
No.
Casey's great.
We have. I don't think he's going to be getting in a car with me again.
There's a story to this.
What did you almost hit? Was it a baby buggy?
Well, yeah, it was an empty. It was like a toy one, I think.
No,
it was a real one.
It was a real one, and we're going with the idea that it was empty, but it was in the middle of the road, in the middle of the highway, and you barely missed it.
But yeah, that's still missing it.
It is still missing it. That's right. A near miss is still a miss. That's right.
Was Casey gripping the seat, the handle?
Yeah,
the whole
we were
time?
taking him in Chicago. There's someone painted on the side of a building his cover to All Hail Megatron.
The
one
Killing Joke
the Killing Joke one that Charles got for like $5.
Whoa!
And so we drove him out there so he could actually see it in person and stuff.
It was $20.
But anyway, Casey's awesome. He's always a good person to talk to. So hope you guys have fun with him. That's it for convention news this week.
All right. And we will finish up the show with some feedback. Okay. So on YouTube, We got a bunch of comments on our recent trips to the store videos. So I think a few, I guess it was a couple months ago, we mentioned the feedback that Sledge was writing. Good friend of the show, Sledge. I believe he's a Donatreon. He's on the Discord pretty frequently. And he enjoys roasting me about my trips to the store stuff. But I think he's expanding his commentary. He's still roasting me, but the comments are interesting. There's a lot. There's like the last 6 or 7 episodes he's got comments. So I'm gonna let Daryl pick one if he wants to read a particularly funny one. So Daryl, have at it.
All right. Well, I have picked 2 because because Apollo's on with us tonight, and there are 2 from when Apollo was on. So I'm gonna read 2. So the first one is from episode 435, and Sledge writes, "Finally, the big reveal. Charles is showing us what we have been waiting for all this time. Magical Pony and 4 more comics. At last the drought is over. From now on, we'll surely be able to look forward to your contributions in every single episode. Apollo, that fan art really makes that presentation very cool. Daryl, I'm glad to see your Beasties War Love coming out. Am I the only one that found Hot Rod to have a short torso? Apparently I am." I guess he's referring to Studio Series Hot Rod. The next one, I'm going to jump ahead to episode 440, was the next time Apollo was on, and he wrote in. Sledge writes, "Charles, bringing it with comics and a toy. Damn, Cyclonus looks amazing. I don't have him yet, and I feel much jealousy. Congrats." In response to Scourge, "I feel your pain. We all have toys that got away. Apollo, you make Iris Coulter sound so good. Even the box art looks so good. Definitely giving me FOMO. Thanks for sharing. Jeremy, I think most fossils are pretty smooth because any texture should be part of the substrate and not the fossil. What sometimes comes across as texture is just damage to the fossil. Daryl, I love that blueprint cover, and you can manually rewind those tapes if you want. Great G2 Dinobots. Your homework today is to learn the Dinobot names. And no, it's never Slug. Do you think we'll get Studio G2 repaints?" So Jeremy, a little bit of a thing for you there about fossils.
Yeah. A little technical when I showed off the fossilizer.
The blueprint cover that he's referring to is mine from the Back to the Future Transformers crossover. I had a blueprint cover there, and it looked pretty good. The G2 Dinobots, I don't know. I think the G2 Dinobots in Studio Series would be a bit of a maybe a Selects thing.
Yeah,
I can see that maybe, but not in the main line. Yeah,
we haven't gotten a lot of G2 repaints outside of just that Megatron. And the Dinobots, the colors were so out there. It would be neat to see just kind of a G2 legacy line.
Well, the Megatron is a G2. I
guess we got the black side swipe.
They did the side swipe, and they did G2 Ramjet. Those are there are 3 from what I can remember. So yeah, and they've been dabbling in the G2 stuff. Because they did that Laser Prime from Prime Wars, right? So that's they've dabbled in the G2.
Oh, and Laser Prime was one of the rumors coming up.
Exactly, right? So they're playing around in the G2 pool, so you never know what they're going to do with the G2 color schemes. But yeah, those are the 2 that I wanted to highlight because Apollo was on. And there you go. Thanks for writing in, Sludge, and keep them coming. I love it when other people roast Charles because it's a hard road to travel when I'm just doing it by myself.
Yeah, I told him in Discord, but like I was having a hard day at work, and I was working. These came in like really late, like on whatever day they were. It was like 11 or 12 p.m. my time. And as I was working, I was like seeing the emails coming in. I glanced over to see, and it really kind of, brightened my attitude after reading these. So that was awesome.
All right. Well, we've got a little bit more feedback. So first on our Discord, we had Dinobot Maximize, one of our Masterpiece Donatrons. He left a comment. He says, I just want to say I will indeed miss the almighty Yoshi. I do hope everything with him and his family are well and that we may have him return again someday. I also wanted to say congratulations to you for the many, many, many years of a great Transformers podcast. I used to listen to many others, but they would drift off with other topics far too many times for my liking, but you guys stayed with it. So here is to many, many more years of the Great Transmissions podcast. Thank you, Dinobot Maximize, and thank you for continuing to be a Masterpiece Donatron. We really appreciate that. And we hope,
Dinobot.
Yeah. We hope there are many, many years as well. And, a reunion with Yoshi, I mean, I'm not going to say no, never, but I think that's going to be much farther in the future if that does happen. But, we'll see. Our last comment comes from one of our longtime listeners, Karuba. He's been listening since episode 1 as well.
Possibly our longest listener.
Possibly. He did leave this comment accidentally on the Empire of Rust episode 56 post. So luckily I caught it there, but this is a Transmissions comment, so we're going to read it here. He does say, happy belated anniversary, Transmissions team. What will you guys do to mark the big 1-0? So you're getting a little ahead of us. It's only been 8 years. The big 1-0 is 2 more years. We got 2 more years before that happens. So I guess we got time to figure it out. But yeah, that's too much pressure at the moment. But Karuba continues, now about today's show. I do agree that Transformers needs to find ways to move forward. For me, I'm worried that in time, the franchise will become an old person's hobby like comic books have been with DC and Marvel, telling stories with the same characters for 50 to 75 years. So with that in mind, what would you like to see done to make Transformers relevant in 20 to 40 years? In my opinion, part of the solution would be to move beyond Generation 1. No more Optimus Prime and Megatron. I mean, I think we are going to see. I mean, I think the property continues to reinvent itself. I mean, we did have this last year. We did have a bit of a G1. It was a G1 focus with the War for Cybertron trilogy, but it did also bring in elements, from Beast Wars and other parts of the franchise. But apparently, this next year coming up, we've got some totally new shows coming out. I mean, we've got the Nickelodeon Transformers show that's supposed to be like a completely different, it doesn't sound like it's going to be the traditional Autobots Decepticons thing. It's going to be something different. And then we've got BotBots. I mean, that's a new Netflix show coming as well. So, I think at least I see this branching out and doing different things. That's going to continue to be a staple of Transformers. I mean, I think if you look back in the last 35 years, it continues to reinvent itself. I mean, with Beast Wars, I mean, you do carry over some characters. I mean, Optimus Prime and Megatron, those names carry over. I mean, they may not always be consistent, but they are, just represented as touchstones to the, as new character, but they do get new characterizations, new inventions. But 50 to 75 years, I don't know. I don't know if, I guess I don't know what the future holds, but I don't know if like kids will be playing with physical toys, 25 years from now. So that's,
well, let me put something out there and actually pose a question back to Karuba. Is within the last 3 to 4, and you could expand it to 10 years even, we've seen Transformers get co-opted into much more mobile games, and especially in the last few weeks, we've definitely seen it cross over into different properties. This could just be us as old farts, but does this kind of marketing, does it work? does anybody go to play these new games because it's now got Transformers in it? Or is it just a bonus because you're already playing the game that now Transformers are in it? What do people out there see this and say, damn, now I want to play this game because Transformers are in it? For me, as an old fart, I see this and think, I don't care. I don't want to play this game. I'm not going to play it because it's got Transformers in it. If it's a dedicated Transformers game, now we're talking, something different, like Earth Wars and the other one that was just going. Those ones I'll actually play for a little bit until I get bored of it, and then I'll wait for the next one. That's kind of where I see the future of this franchise going. And yes, physical toys is the bedrock of it, but it has to expand out and keep up with today's youth, and that's all online and in gaming form. I think if they get good games and actually something that kids want to play or expand on, that's what will take it into the 10, 20, 25, 30 years into the future. From where I'm sitting, the games that are coming out or the crossover games that they're being kind of messed with or co-opted into, they're junk. They're no good. And I know there's a lot of fans out there that like Earth Wars and then like the other ones. I cannot get into those games. It's just doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. There's no story. There's no real anything. And yes, I understand that some of the story, there is a story written for Earth Wars. I believe Simon Furman writes it, but
yeah, it's
not interesting to me. Like, you're progressing through the game, still doing the same damn thing. You're attacking a base. They're getting attacked. You're building new forces, you're upping your team's strength, right? But there's these story beats that progress, through. The gameplay doesn't change at all. It's always the same. You need to have something that actually is different. Something that, and I don't know, to change gears a little bit, something that, I don't know whether you guys remember me talking about it, but I mentioned this, I think, a while ago, in that an interesting story take on the Transformers was something that we've gotten in Star Trek recently with the show Lower Decks. And that would be where Optimus Prime and Megatron are characters in the show, but they're very rarely seen. They're figureheads for their particular teams. So if you're talking about, if your episode is Autobot focused, you have this team of guys who are third, fourth, fifth tier characters, and they know that they have to, they know of Optimus Prime, but they've never met the guy. And, they might have seen him at a rally or some kind of, speech and off in the distance, but their commander is some unknown guy that really we don't care to either. And that guy's commander might be Gears or some shit like that. Like, I mean, you might get, like, that's how far behind the lines these guys are, right? Like, that kind of weird storytelling is something that I kind of like. And, like, these are all the grunts. They're doing all the shit work. All you ever hear about is Prime and Megatron and their, battle against each other. But like a Lower Decks kind of a deal, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I could see that in like the Lost Light vein, but with all of the characters that are, like you said, they're just doing the mundane jobs on the ship. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you, Apollo? Where do you see the franchise in 10 years, and how do you think it's going to keep going?
I think the only way it's going to continue is if there's new stories being told, quite honestly. Like, you still see that More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light, the comics, are super popular, and also the Wreckers. So why not do a show based off Lost Light or the Wreckers? Why, don't focus on Optimus. I think them focusing on, even as the comment says here, on Optimus and Megatron, it's really, it's becoming like a one-trick pony, for lack of a better term. Like, give someone else a chance to be the main hero. Like, what about Elita 1 being a Prime?
Mm-hmm.
give her an axe or something, like just it'd be nice to just hear different characters' stories. And I think doing something that would focus on different characters like Lost Light, Megatron is in that, but there are other characters in that too. And I think that would really help. I don't know with toys, a lot of kids nowadays don't play with toys, as you were saying. So the toy thing might just be people of our generation. I don't really see kids getting into toys like this. I know it's not a part of their culture, really. If they're going to do toys, it's going to have to be some sort of educational based toy, for kids. They're definitely going to have to incorporate the brand into other things like video games and other things. So I'd also like to see like a slice of life show. I know Rescue Bots was like that, and I thought that was a really good different take on Transformers because, like Optimus would show up in that, but it was just like a cameo appearance, or Bumblebee would show up sometimes, but it's about these 4 kind of lower deck guys, and they're stuck protecting an island, rescuing people and stuff. And I thought that was a really cool show, and it's very underrated so that's my thoughts on it.
Rescue Bots was geared towards a younger audience, but that's exactly kind of the idea of getting away from the core cast and focusing on a group of characters that don't really have a lot of are not the prominent main characters. And yeah, I mean, for Rescue Bots, since it was more of a kids show, they shied away from the more violent conflict and focused on these guys who are rescue vehicles. So they're just fighting natural disasters. They're not fighting Decepticons, so it's okay. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of room for different stories to be told within Transformers. And yeah, I mean, you can do a space opera like with Lost Light. You can do you could do a sitcom. You could do a procedural police drama. I mean, you can do lots of different things. So I mean, the one thing with the mobile games, I think, I mean, I don't know if the mobile game marketing works or if that appeals to people, but for me personally, the mobile games, any mobile games that have the free to play, then, monetization model of, microtransaction monetizations, I think those are all from the devil. So I think all those free to play microtransaction games, regardless of the quality of the game and how well done it is, how well made it is, they all suffer from the same problem of just being kind of machines to extract money from naive kids or people who have compulsive habits. And I think that's going to hamper any, I would advise anyone to steer clear of those games, or if you play those games, definitely do not spend any money on those games. But yeah, that's my sorry for editorializing over on the mobile games.
It's been a good 6 months since you've had one of those. I'm curious to see how the BotBot show is going to do, because I was actually talking about it with my kid today, and he got all excited, and he's like, when we watch it, we can bring out all of your original BotBots, and original being like,
you got G1 BotBots?
Yeah, I know. So he got all excited, and that show, none of the characters are anyone. They're all original, unique to BotBots. So I'm curious to see what audience that's going to draw, and what the excitement outside of the Transformers fandom will be.
All right. Well, thank you, Karuba, for that email. It did generate some good discussion. We're always looking or not email. That was a comment on an episode post. So, but we're always looking for comments that generate good discussion. So yeah, I mean, it's fun to speculate on what the future holds for Transformers. Although I think our crystal ball does not go that far into the future, so it's hard for us to see. But yeah. we'll see if maybe transmissions will transmissions still be there 20 to 40 years in the future. I have no idea. If it is, it might be our children doing this. I don't know if we've got that many years left in us.
We'll be robots by then.
Coming to you live on the HoloNet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we will wrap up the show here. Thanks again, everyone, for listening. As always, we end the show by giving a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatrons. So thank you again to John 4X Levengood, Dinobot Maximize, and Demon Tech 82. Thank you for continuing to support the show at our highest level on Patreon. We really appreciate it. We've also got merchandise from our TeePublic store. So if you go to transmissionspodcast.com/shop, you can check out all the stuff we've got. We've got lots of cool shirts. We've got other merchandise. We've got masks. Lots of good stuff to look at and pick up if you are interested. And if you buy anything from TeePublic through that link, that helps out the show. So transmissionspodcast.com/shop. Again, Apollo, thank you for joining us this week. And we've got a little bit of an announcement. You've been doing some cool. We commissioned you for a special project, so maybe you could mention what you're working on.
Yeah. So I've been working on a cover for Transmissions, a cover style comic book cover, and it's turning out really well. It's taking me a little longer than I thought. It's looking really good. I'm very excited about it. I'm mostly done with it, which is awesome. So I really can't wait to show everyone. I think you're going to really like it. And I know you guys have seen it already on Transmissions, but, I keep messaging you. I'm like, oh, I changed the line art, slightly, but, I think it's going to look really good. I think anyone who's a part of the Patreon, I believe you're going to be able to get access to this artwork and you can get it on merchandise, right?
Yeah. So what's going to happen? We talked about this pre-pandemic and that just kind of threw a wrench into all of our plans. So based on what level you support us in the Patreon, I believe it is everything above the $1, you'll get something, and we'll detail those when we release the final art. But it'll just everything will have that art on it, be it like a sticker, a mug, a shirt, post. I don't know if we're doing posters or not, but it'll all be fulfilled by Patreon worldwide. It'll just be sent out automatically. So I'm looking forward to to getting that stuff out there, and then, assuming things go well, we have something else kind of in the works that had to be delayed, but we're looking to get like a mix of professional artists, fan artists, and just kind of getting some more art out there while also, thanking the people that support our show.
So look forward to that. And Apollo, thanks for doing that for us.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, thank you for asking me. It's a huge honor. When you approached me about it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I'm really proud of how it's turning out. Like I'm really happy with it so far. Yeah,
it's been looking really good. It's always fun to watch the art from the initial kind of rough out, idea sketches to turning into, the close to finalized art. It's just watching the process is always fun.
Thanks.
All right. Well, Apollo, why don't you tell everyone where they can find your stuff online and, where they can commission your art if they want?
Well, you guys can find me on primarily Twitter, but also Instagram. And my username is @RoboApollo on both those platforms. I do have commissions open. Yeah, so you can just message me on either of those platforms. Or if you just want to talk Transformers, I always like talking with people about Transformers. So hope to see you on those platforms.
All right. And that will do it for this episode of Transmissions. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to keep the Transformers talk going, join us in Discord at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. There's a great community there waiting for you. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support, or just tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.
Yeah,
Yes.
you didn't give us the 5-second warning, so I
I
was
know.
like, "Oh, what's happening here?"
I always worry.
Yeah, but I'm good.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's been done.
Yeah,
Your
I'm
5
on.
seconds warning gives me confidence that my time is lining up. Check volume. Was that too loud?
No, that was fine. for
Maybe a
me.
little.
That's fine.
Guess I'll just deal with it then.
I cut it down a little bit for you, Daryl.
Thanks.
Don't want to offend your sensitive ears.
Yep.
Ow, my freaking ears.
My freaking ears. And she gives me that wife look where it's just like, you're an idiot. Like, why are you watching these?
I don't know much, but I know I love you.
Damn. Look at that.
Mike,
A rare pre-show song. I'll try and find it for you because obviously you're lazy and you need the video.
In Japan, he's known as Gigatron.
There you go. Charles adding his 2 cents.
Terratron.
Decatron? No, that's less. That's less.
If you are interested in getting some, you giving us some feedback, you can go to Daryl. Are you okay?
Just giving Jeremy shit.
I had a dog issue that you had to take care of. Did y'all talk about the Patreon thing or not?
No,
We forgot. Oh, no.
Don't.
it's okay.